Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again, hour number 3, 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. Hope all is well in your world this afternoon. About halfway through the work week here, right? Everybody's wrapping up their day probably here on Wednesday. Some of you may already be done for the day. Nice day outside in the parts where we are. Sun is out. It's not all that super cold outside, so a nice fall day, probably a lot of leaf raking going on around the state and stuff like that. Thanks for tuning in wherever you may be. WNFL 99.7 FM in Green Bay and Appleton. Wausau 93.9 The Game. Duluth Superior 710 The Game. And, of course, Milwaukee 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan there. We're going to get into what we always do here at 4 o'clock, our Green and Gold update. And then at 4:20, last night on the NBA game on NBC, the Bucks game against the Knicks. So they're doing this thing with Michael Jordan every game. And I speculated last week after the first one that Michael Jordan probably recorded all of this in his house in one session, and they were going to play clips of one long interview with Tirico throughout the season. And after watching last night, I'm convinced that I'm correct, that we will not see Michael Jordan anywhere. Correct. Right? It's not going to happen. It was the same exact shot, same room, nothing changed. And that's exactly what it appears they did.
I wish I was good at basketball, man, or some sport. Could just sit in my house after I retire for the rest of my life. Just do it once. You don't even have to do anything.
The shoe deal, I mean, separates him from a lot of other people that were really good.
Like this, Joe Thomas, because he was good at basketball.
Joe Thomas, great Hall of Famer, doesn't have that money, right? Leroy Butler, great Hall of Famer, doesn't have Jordan money, right? I mean, he's at a whole different level than the rest of these guys that were great and were Hall of Famers.
Just get paid to work for a whole season. He worked one day. That's
essentially
not even.
That's what I think it was. One day. Maybe it was 2 days of recording, but either way,
I bet it was one day.
It's not like he's sitting in the studio traveling every week to be a part of the studio show. That's definitely not what's happening. But I want to get into something that they got into this whole load management thing and the NBA, and he gave his thoughts on it. If you haven't heard it, I'll play it for you, but that leads to me a bigger question, and that is there are a lot of people that don't like the NBA, that don't think it's a good product, that refuse to watch it, don't follow it, and now that we're on statewide, I'm curious what people around the state feel about the NBA and what the people around the state feel about the product that they see and maybe why they don't watch it. I'm sure there are a lot of people that do watch it around the state, but I'm also pretty sure from prior experience doing stuff like this that there are a lot of people around the state that could care less about the Bucks, could care less about the NBA. And I wonder if all of this kind of goes together or if there are other reasons why you don't like the NBA. So we'll jump into that coming up at 4:20. Then things we missed on today's show coming up at 4:40. But now let's do this.
It's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Fifer.
All right, let's get to Matt LaFleur, who talked a little bit earlier today. Before practice, he had a chance to chat. And again, if you've not heard this before, I will play it and I will intercede and interject as we go and pause it. And we'll see how far I get before I get fed up and turn it off. Here is some of Matt LaFleur. And I don't think it's going to work. We're going to have to play it from Charlie's side unless you can hear it because I can't.
I cannot, no.
Okay, very good. So let's play it from your side, Charlie Usen, and let's hear a little Matt LaFleur.
Will Lucas get back out there this week?
Not today. It's still kind of day by day, and we'll see where he's at.
Carolina seems to be a much improved team based on its record, but this is still a game situated in the schedule right after the Aaron Rodgers game, right before Monday night game with the Eagles. how much of a concern? How do you make sure?
I'm not worried about it. Like we've got enough to worry about just within ourselves and a lot of growth in front of us. If we want to play our best football, we should only be worried about today and this game and nothing else outside of that.
When you went back and watched the film, how did Devontae look in his first game back from the knee?
I thought he played pretty well.
Was a challenge. I know we did.
I'm just curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought he played well. He was moving around well. He played physical. So we're lucky to have him back.
I know we talked about the quarterback situation with the Cardinals a couple of weeks ago with the uncertainty there, but this is like a totally different style of quarterback. What sort of challenges that go from Andy Dalton to Bryce Young?
Well, I mean, Andy's got a lot of ball underneath his belt. He's played a long time in this league. And then I think Bryce, I really think the turning point you could argue was a couple years ago in our game when he went off in the second half. They battled back and, we made a couple plays down the stretch to win the game. But I think that kind of got him going. I know he had a little setback, whatever maybe last year, and then he really got going. So he's obviously a very talented quarterback. I think he can do a lot of things with his legs, just either manipulating the pocket or creating off schedule. And I think he's got some weapons he can throw to now.
All right, stop this for a second. We talked about this earlier. Packers blitz rate is second worst in the National Football League right now as far as going after opposing quarterbacks with that blitz. Do you change your philosophy if it is Bryce Young in there? And do you bring the house in different situations to see how he adjusts to that, to see if he can make those quick alignments? And I bring you back to Jordan Love back against Kansas City that first time. And Spagnuolo just absolutely harassed the hell out of him for an entire game. And the Packers never had an answer. I don't know if you have to be that dramatic about it because I don't think the Panthers' offensive line is all that good. But to bring more blitz packages than they've shown on film to this point could really be a problem for Bryce Young. Now, if it's Andy Dalton, no, you don't need to do that. But if it's Bryce Young, I think that's something that maybe you consider if you're game planning week to week and you're not set in a particular way to play every week and you're willing to change game plans based on the opponent, that might be something worth considering this week.
I think it kind of depends about what you're more worried about. Are you more worried about Bryce Young dicing you up, or are you more worried about putting your cornerbacks on an island right now? And I think right now for the Green Bay Packers, you should probably be more worried about putting your cornerbacks on an island.
Sure.
And I think blitzing more heavily than you have in previous weeks so far puts you at a higher disadvantage for when you guys mess something up on a blitz. If it's a blitz you haven't run before, or if you get caught up and guys get tangled up with each other and that screws up the whole blitz, that all of a sudden puts Keyshawn Nixon, puts a Nate Hobbs, put a Carrington Valentine at risk to get screwed by a really talented young wide receiver core in Carolina. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but it's a group that can do damage to you if you give them the opportunity to. So right now, I think you want to give your defensive backs as much help as possible and not put them in that position for Bryce Young to have a good game if your blitz packages don't work as well as you think they can.
That's a completely fair point. I think I would at least try it early. And then if you get burned once or twice, then stop. Then just play back the way you normally play and let Micah Parsons and those guys do their thing. But I really want to see them bring Edgerrin Cooper more than they have to this point. I really want to see Quay Walker come more than he has to this point. I really want to see Evan Williams blitz, and get home and knock a quarterback on his butt. I want to see more of that. Now, I understand you got Micah Parsons. The idea was not to have to blitz, to be able to only rush 4 or 5 and get home with those guys and not have to worry about that. And for the most part, it has worked. You are, top half of the league as far as pressure rate. Now, you're not top half of the league in converting pressure to sack rate by any stretch of the imagination. You're like 22nd or 23rd. So you're getting pressure, but you're not being able to convert as much as what you need to at this point. Where blitzing, I don't know, man. I just feel like unblocked guys sometimes aren't going to miss usually, unless, they overrun a guy ducks and they go flying over the top of them. You see that from time to time. But for the most part, I feel better about success rate when you're doing that type of stuff, especially against a young quarterback who hasn't seen it on film from a defense that he's about to play. I think you can really confuse him. All right, let's continue on with Matt LaFleur.
What are the prospects for Lloyd returning anytime soon?
Marshawn Lloyd.
No, I wouldn't count on that anytime soon.
Great. Thanks.
Is Wicks going to be able to practice today?
He will not practice today.
More good news.
Without Lucas, JJ's played a bunch, and obviously he makes a TFL every game. Basically, it seems like. What have you thought of the way he's stepped
Yeah,
in?
he's done a great job. He's done a great job. You know, the one the other night was a 5-yard loss when they were moving the ball. So he always seems to make some impact plays. I love how his style of play, just tough, gritty. You're going to get everything out of him.
Stop now. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're sitting somewhere and you're listening to this, whether maybe you're still at work or maybe if you're at a stoplight and you're not moving, you can do this little game. Raise your hand if you've thought about Lucas Van Ness in the last couple of weeks while he wasn't been playing. You've thought about Lucas Van Ness?
I have.
In what way?
Where is Lucas Van Ness? Why is he still not playing? That's what I want.
Hasn't crossed my mind until he just brought up that Lucas Van Ness hasn't been playing. I hadn't crossed my mind. I hadn't thought about it once.
He had a good season before he got hurt.
I'm just telling you. I'm just being honest.
He was my breakout player of the year, I said.
Good for you. I'm just saying, from an honesty standpoint, I'm just trying to be honest. We do the Green Bay Football Postgame Show powered by Lakeland University after every game here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Tommy Wirtz and myself. We have not talked once about, boy, wish they had Van Ness in this game. They're really missing him. That has not happened one freaking time since Van Ness has been out. It hasn't happened. Now, in fairness, Tommy's guy last year was Jaden Reed. I haven't talked about missing Jaden Reed either the last couple of post-game shows either, because we're talking about Tucker Kraft being unbelievable. Christian Watson comes back, right? So you're not talking about that either. The only thing really talking about who you're missing, we haven't talked about missing Marshawn Lloyd. Wanna know why? Because he's never played long enough for us to miss anything.
Are you done with Marshawn Lloyd, Sparky, yet?
No,
still?
I just want to see him play, man.
I don't think you're going to at this rate.
Man. They made that pick, and I was like, all right, good. I like that pick. I liked what he did in college. Like, cool, let's see what happens. And I literally said, man, Josh Jacobs will be here for a couple years. Marshawn Lloyd will be the featured back, and we're off to the races. Let's give him a couple years, get some seasoning, and let's go. I did not foresee Manny Wilson being that guy that's behind. That was supposed to be Marshawn Lloyd, man.
Yeah, it was.
That's what it was supposed to be. And instead, Marshawn Lloyd gets as much action as you and I get in NFL games right now. Like, man, I just want to see what it looks like give me one season where you play 14 games, and let's see what it looks like. I can't even get 4 or 5 consecutive games without this dude getting hurt. It sucks. Appendicitis last year, that's freak. Like, what are you going to be mad about that? It's just random crap that continues to happen. In the play he got hurt on, it was a good play, right? Yeah. You're like, oh, Marshawn Lloyd, he's hurt again. Yeah. Oh, no. Right? That's literally what I was. I was like, yeah, Marshawn, oh, he's hurt again. Oh, man. That's literally what happened when I watched that. Matt LaFleur continues.
How did Josh come out of the game with the calf?
In my conversations with him, pretty good.
How much do you feel like it was limited in his ability to kind of have the usual burst that he has?
I saw the burst. We got to just do a better job around him, making sure that he's got premium looks. Some were some play calls. Others were just, we didn't block the right people. And it's going to be hard to run the ball whether you're mistargeted or you don't get a block on the perimeter. You know, there was a situation where we didn't insert on a safety, and it's right at the point of attack. So I don't care what back's back there. It's hard if you're not all targeted right.
Hold it. Stop. Wow. I'm blessed to have Charlie use it on this show who played college football. Now, he didn't play like Florida or Michigan or nothing like that. But
quite the opposite.
But you still played, right?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't play college football. So I ask you, when you hear Matt LaFleur go, hey, guys, we're blocking the wrong people.
That's usually not good. Yeah.
Do you say to yourself, oh, yeah, I can understand how that happens? Or do you say to yourself, man, it's the damn NFL, man. Like, how are we blocking the wrong people in the National Football League when these are the best of the best at that level?
A little bit of both, because on the defensive side, you have the best of the best as well. That's still some of the greatest
But
players.
he's not saying guys are getting beat on blocks. He
No.
said they were blocking the wrong people.
But it also means that the defensive coordinator does a good job at giving them looks where it messes up their reads a lot of the time before a play, so that they have the read on a defensive tackle, but now they're doing a really complicated twist where the linebacker, defensive tackle, and defensive end are all twisting at the same time. And that offensive guard in the span of a half a second has to decide which player he wants to block, even though he's supposed to stay on the defensive tackle, who's two guys down the line. It can get confusing sometimes. So yes, I do understand kind of where these guys are coming from, where it is a struggle to follow some of these keys when a defensive coordinator is doing a really good job against you. Mike Tomlin in that defense is always going to be smart and is always going to be good. They're going to do things right. So you have a situation like that. On the other side of things, though, these guys are NFL players, and you shouldn't be doing this on a consistent basis, and they're doing it on a consistent basis. Like I mentioned earlier, Josh Jacobs is making this offensive line look a lot better than it is right now. Like, that's just plain and simple.
And it's not like he's breaking runs right now either.
He's a fantastic player that's making himself get yards and get points and figure this out right now as is. And he's been sick the past couple of weeks. So he was doing that when he wasn't even fully healthy and ready to go for this team. The offensive line just has to be better, plain and simple, for Josh Jacobs. And right now, how often they're blocking the wrong guys. And if you do block a wrong guy, you're supposed to fix it right away on the next play. Just get it out of your head and move on. And they're not doing that.
Charlie, using Sparky Fifer with you. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back on the other side. And I want to get into this Michael Jordan piece last night. And I want to ask you, especially those of you listening in, say, Appleton or Green Bay on WNFL, or in Wausau on the game, or in Duluth Superior on the game there, or even in Milwaukee. Jordan gets into this whole load management thing with Mike Tirico last night at NBC, and we'll play that clip for you and his thoughts on, guys missing games when they can play and all of that. And as I was watching it last night, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how much of that has to do with why people don't like the NFL, right? Where you drive down to Milwaukee from wherever in the state to watch the Bucks play, and then the stars of one or both teams aren't even playing because of load management, and you drove 4 hours or 6 hours or whatever the case may be, or even a couple of hours, and then you don't even get to see your guys play. And how frustrating that is. Or you turn on the TV to watch it, and then like half the lineup's not playing. You're like, what the hell is going on here? They all hurt. And there's a couple of guys hurt, a couple of guys on load management, and then you turn it off. Or are there other reasons why people aren't digging the NBA at this point? So we'll get into that coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live in Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speaking of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Potawatomi giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs November 1st through the 20th, and you can earn entries playing with your reward card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Get into that Michael Jordan conversation straight ahead on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. When the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. Bucks beat the Knicks last night. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's today. See Sparky Fifer here. Charlie using other side of the glass. I want to jump into that game last night on NBC with the Bucks and the Knicks, not to talk about the game specifically, but talk about a couple of things from the game, specifically what Michael Jordan had to say. Before I do that, I have to play this, and I know this has been played elsewhere today on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network on other shows, whether it's Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht on Inside Wisconsin Sports, weekday morning 6 to 9. They have Brian Gutekunst tomorrow morning at 6:15. Packers GM. Definitely want to tune in to hear Goody on with those guys at 6:15 tomorrow morning. Then 9 to noon with Kuhn. That's John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. And then noon to 2, Mason Crosby show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. And then, of course, this show. And then Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up comes up 5 to 6 with Tommy Word. So I'm sure you've heard this NBC Open before, but I thought it was really good. So if you missed it last night, you turn on the game late, or you don't watch the Bucks or the NBA, still pretty cool. And hold on a second.
A half century ago, the Knicks and Bucks were two of the powerhouse franchises in the NBA. The Knicks of Frazier, Reed and company won the title twice in the early 70s.
The New York Knicks have won this basketball game.
The Bucks of Kareem and Oscar were champs in 71.
The Milwaukee Bucks are champions of the world.
4 years ago, Milwaukee ended its 50-year title drought, capped by a trophy-clinching 50-point performance from Giannis.
That's the stuff of legend.
Last season, New York was knocking on the door, but fell short in the conference finals.
This is a bludgeoning here in Game 6.
So their wait continues. Now a new season is underway. Fresh start, same goal. It's the Knicks and the Bucks, the NBA on NBC. Next.
So good. So good. I don't know if you're a Bob Costas fan or not. I am a big Bob Costas fan. So having him cut it, I thought was pretty cool. And in line with it being on NBC and Peacock and all of that, I just got this in my email from the NBA. Nearly 37 million people in the U.S. watched the American Express NBA Tip-Off 2025 across NBC and Peacock, ESPN, and Amazon Prime Video. The most viewers for an opening week in 15 years, wow. Charlie.
All right. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, 15 years. That is a lot. If we talk about it from that perspective.
Exciting.
Okay, so that excludes 2011 and 2020 when the season started Christmas week because of labor issues and so forth.
I was like, why in 2011? Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Michael Jordan is doing these insights, whatever they're calling it, on NBC, where Mike Tirico asks him a topic, he gives his answer, they play it back and so forth. So last night, the topic for Jordan was, the idea that you're resting guys so they're fresher at the end of the season, so they don't get hurt as much, right? They call it load management in the NBA, and wanted to get Jordan's thoughts on load management in the league.
I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me, and I want to shut him up. He's calling me all kinds of names. I definitely want to shut him up.
Right.
You have a duty that if they're wanting to see you, and as an entertainer, I want to show.
Pause right there. I'm going to say this. I don't believe that majority of NBA players have that philosophy anymore. It's my thoughts. Allen Iverson said the same thing. He said it a bunch as far as, I don't care how hurt I was or whatever. This may be the only time somebody in that building might get to come watch me play. And I'm going to give it everything I got. And if I'm banged up, I'm still going to play. Because It ain't cheap to go to NBA games or whatever the case may be. Maybe somebody's bringing their daughter or their son and because they love Allen Iverson. Do it. And say what you want about the superstars in this league. Kobe Bryant had that same type of mentality. I heard him talk about it in his career as well. Giannis has that mentality. But I don't think that mentality exists everywhere else across the National Basketball Association.
I don't really think so either. And I don't, I guess, understand why that's the case. I think when I look at it, I think it's because they are so much closer to hearing what fans are saying on a daily basis nowadays that some of these guys maybe resent the fans at some point here with social media and just how freely some people talk on social media about these guys, that they don't feel like they owe anything to the fans. It's literally for them and their family, and that's it. I think a lot of these other guys didn't hear that all the time back then. So, yeah, they want to play for the fans a little bit more.
The negativity wasn't out there on social media because it didn't exist. Absolutely right. All right, Michael Jordan continues on NBC.
Right? So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it, and I just don't feel like doing it, that's a whole different lens.
So give me the first time that you came to that fork in the road in your career where you could have sat down and missed a game, but you fought through.
Started my career.
Okay.
I twist my ankle.
This just happens to be a game against the Bucks, by the way. Complete coincidence that Jordan picks a game against the Bucks on the night the Bucks are playing. Complete coincidence.
I don't think. I bet the producers took this question because it has a story about the Bucks, picked it and put it on this one. If you were saying he filmed all these in one day,
no doubt. Yes. All right, moving on.
And I had a teammate. He says, "You twist your ankle, young fella. Come over and sit with me. You know, this is you need to." I said, "No, man. I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact." And I twisted my ankle. I taped it up, and I went back out, and I played. I always felt that. I always felt the necessary need that I could never leave my comrades out if I could perform, right? Even if I couldn't. Utah, great example. You know, everybody said the flu game. It's a game 5, which is a very pivotal game. I was going to find a way to get out there, even if I was a decoy. Well, once I got out there, you know, you never know how, you know, pushing yourself, you never know what happens, right?
So that night you got out there and you found you could do more than you thought you were going to be able to.
Next thing you know, the emotions, the situation, the need of the team, you know, all those things catapulted me to, I'm going to gut this thing out. You know, back to your point of what load management is, you know, you play basketball 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? That's your job. That's what you get paid to do as an NBA player. What are you doing the other 21 hours? I mean, to me, that's when you should be preparing for your next day of work or your next, you know, challenge. Now, I'm the worst. Maybe I'm not one of the guys that you would probably model that.
It's true.
Or, you know.
I was going to say, did you do that every time?
But you should think about that in retrospect of what load management really is. I always felt like one, it was a sense of pride for the fans that are paying. Right. 2 is a sense of, you know, making sure that I stay sharp. You know, I'm not going to lose it. And 3, I want our rhythm as a team to always be there. It can disrupt that synergy that's happening.
So there's Michael Jordan on NBC last night, and he's going to do this every Tuesday, I guess, throughout the season with his insights on different topics that Mike Tirico pitches him. My question is this. Do you think load management is the reason why people maybe are turned off by the NBA? Because you don't hear about this crap in college basketball. It's not a thing in college basketball. And if it's not that, what do you think is the reason why people aren't watching the NBA? And if you're a person listening to us right now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network in Green Bay, Appleton, Wausau, Duluth, Superior, Milwaukee, I want to hear. If you're not an NBA guy, that's cool. No problem. I'm not going to bash on you if you're not an NBA guy. I'm just kind of curious why. And if this is part of the reason why maybe you don't check out the NBA. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming on X and on YouTube each and every day. Plus, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, again, at WI Sports Radio. Trav and Brown Deer, you're next on the Nicolay Law talking text line on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trav?
Yeah.
this is why, I got much respect for LeBron, right? But like you said, Jordan with that interview, Giannis, this type, and Kobe, they press themselves to be the best. And the only thing Giannis needs is, when he airballed yesterday, but he needs to calm down. Like Jordan just, it's coming. Like they push hard, and it's great. So this time management, yeah, they love it. Yeah. Before I go, not even about the haircut. We're talking about the nerve time, but the national media, Sparky, right? Hello.
Yeah, I'm here, Trev. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. New York. Did you read his lips? This is my city.
Yep.
Did you see it? It was so great.
It was. Yeah.
Love you guys.
It absolutely was. I love you too, Trev. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Take care. Yeah, I saw it. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I simply chose not to have the conversation today about this whole Giannis thing because, as I've stated many times, I'm sick of talking about it. I've had my fill. Every time he says something or doesn't say something, and then ESPN responds with whatever they say, I'm just sick of playing the whole game. I just am. I'm done. So I purposely did not bring it up in the pre-show meeting. It's not on our rundown. We had Jim Ozarski on in the first hour from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Bucks beat writer. I didn't bring it up with him. I'm just done with all the damn drama with Giannis and all the nonsense that comes with it. So I'm out on that. Okay. That's where I'm at. All right. Let's hear from everybody. Phone lines are lighting up here. So I want to know, like, why aren't you into the NBA? Why aren't you liking it? What's the issue from your side of the world? Let's go to, come on, man. This dude's name's not really Sparky, but we'll go anyhow. All right. My dual partner here, Sparky in Michigan. What's up? How are you doing?
Yeah. How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. So what's your thoughts on the NBA? Are you an NBA fan, not an NBA fan? What say you?
Used to be an NBA fan, but got turned off. And my nickname's Sparky, by the way.
Oh,
so
nice. So there's two Sparkies. Hey, man, you got to call into this show then, man. We got to hook up and talk more. We have the Sparky v. Sparky.
Get him a Sparky Motorsports shirt.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I have a Spark. Yes, I should. There is a guy that races out of New Berlin, Wisconsin, and the name of the racing team is Sparky Motorsports. I kid you not. And it's a young kid that races. He's like 17 or 18 years old, and he races around the state of Wisconsin. Pretty cool.
Well, we'll have to get a T-shirt or a sweatshirt so we can sponsor him up this way.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah, absolutely. I'll put you on hold when I'm done, and you can get your information to Charlie. All right, so go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
All right. No, you're good. The only thing I was going to say is, like, you talk about like the old school with like Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
Yep.
I'm going to throw Kobe Bryant in there with the Mamba mentality. And with those older guys, they had a desire to win. And no matter what was at stake, even like what Michael Jordan said, it was, if it's just a game for the fans or whatever, he still had the mentality to be the best. And you hear about him like when he lost to the Pistons early in his career in the championships, how he redeemed himself over the summer and all winter to come back to beat those guys.
Yep.
And like he had like the inner compassion inside to like be better than these guys. Today's NBA, you don't hear and see that much anymore. You lose, or if they lose, it's not really that big of a deal. It might be a deal for a day or two, but you don't hear about these guys saying like, this bothered me all year. I worked my tail off to come back to beat whoever. They don't have that anymore.
It's interesting you bring that up because Giannis last night after the game brought up what the Knicks did to the Bucks last year and how that's why he was motivated to go out there and beat that team last night. And take it a step farther, Jalen Brunson, I'm guessing you didn't watch the game last night, but Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, their star guard, he goes down and gets his legs split and he's grabbing his groin, then gets up, continues to play, then goes to make a move and his foot trips over Giannis and he hurts it even more. He's like limping heavily coming off the court. Not sure if it was his hamstring, his groin, what it all was. A little while later, here he comes back into the game to try and gut it out and play through it. So there are guys that do that want to stay out there and be a fan. To your point of what you say, Sparky, I agree. I don't hear that as much. Giannis is one of those guys. I'm not sure how many other guys I could name off that are like that. I appreciate it.
And I agree with what you're saying. Even with Brunson, I mean, I do like him. And, that's a guy that wants to prove himself to win in New York.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there are a few, don't get me wrong, but you don't really hear a whole lot of that.
Nope, I totally understand what you're saying. Sparky, hold on a second. Well, Charlie, you'll get your information. We'll see if we can hook you up with, we'll get something from Sparky Motorsports out here in New Berlin. Let's go to Seth in Green Bay. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Seth?
Hey, Sparky, how's it going? I'm doing well. So the reason I'm calling is I used to be a big NBA fan. I played basketball in high school. I coached basketball for high school. I originally grew up in the UP, moved to Green Bay about 10 years ago. And my deterioration of the sport and watching it it's steadily increased. It's no longer the sport that I grew up watching, loving, enjoying. That's why I enjoy college basketball so much more than the NBA, because to a level, it's not basketball anymore. These guys are not falling within the confines of the rules on a regular basis. The officiating is absolutely terrible. And one of the biggest examples I see of that is on shooting fouls. 4 to 5 times a game, you'll watch these games, and the ref will wait to see what happens to the ball
all the time
before they will make a call on if it's a shooting foul or not. The determination of if the ball goes in the hoop or not should not determine if it's a foul or not. If it's a foul, call the foul. If it's a travel, call the travel. There's a play from last night where Giannis took 5.5 steps from one dribble and went to the hoop. I mean, these guys are a lot of fun to watch. It's entertaining, but it's not basketball anymore. To a level, it's almost a couple of steps above the WWE. It's entertainment. It's not really sport anymore.
Seth, I can't. I don't disagree with you on all as far as what you're saying about the refs, the and ones, and shooting fouls and stuff like that. But that has been that way for quite some time. I want to say in the NBA, Seth.
I get that, and that's one of the reasons why I've consistently stopped watching. I'm in my late 30s. I did grow up with like Jordan in the 90s. I've been a Bucks fan my entire life, even though I grew up in Michigan, and I've loved watching Bucks basketball. But it's just when I turn the sport on, it's not. I can't watch it because it's not basketball.
All right, fair enough.
This is not what I like.
Yeah, that's good, Seth. I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. Call in on other stuff as well. Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Are you turned off by the NBA? What's the reason? Is it load management? Like we heard Michael Jordan talking about. Nicolay Law Talk and Text line 414-677-1250 from the 262. I'd rather watch hockey. That being said, Giannis makes this Bucks team a must watch. You never know what he's going to do in a game. He has been awesome this year. MVP quality season so far. Tyler from West Bend. I got another one coming in here from the 920. Coach Bud sat the entire starting 5 against the Clippers on a Friday night in April. I drove all the way down from Green Bay doing a Bucks Brewers weekend, spent a lot of money to be at the Fifer. I know the tickets were over $125 each, times a family of 4. Yes, the Bucks were on a back-to-back, but watching them get spanked by a non-playoff team was disappointing. I couldn't even begin to tell you how livid I would be if I spent that much money, drove all the way from Green Bay, and that's what I got to watch. I would be hot.
See, and I think sometimes, like me and you, I guess, don't always understand as closely as they do because we love watching the Bucks.
Right.
So it's cool to watch Ryan Rollins and AJ Green try to lead a team sometimes. I'd be down to see that game, but we're also not as casual of fans who want to go see Giannis all the time. Those people don't care about Ryan Rollins as much. They don't have a Ryan Rollins jersey. They have a Giannis jersey. So, yeah, I can see that's really frustrating. Yeah, it's hard to kind of put that in place when you are us.
Sports Talk on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Networks presented by Paramount Plus. Can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We'll continue on having the conversation about the NBA and what's the reason if you're turned off by the product. Is it load management like Michael Jordan was talking about last night on NBC, or is it something else? Nicolay Law Talk and Text line 414-677-1250. We've got Johnny. We got John. Got a bunch of people sitting there. We'll get to you guys all coming up next, plus some text messages too. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Coming up, 5 o'clock, about 10 minutes from right now, Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up with Tommy Wirtz. Keep those dials tuned in. Lots of good stuff on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network today. Tomorrow, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst joins Inside Wisconsin Sports, 6:15 with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht. So set your alarms. I heard Mitch Thundernellis earlier say, set your alarm for 6:14 so you have time to turn on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I think that's a good idea. I'm all for that. If you are up, if you are not up in time, you could always go back and listen to it or watch it there on YouTube. We're live streaming on X now, so you can always go back on X and watch it there. I can't wait to see if Goody's going to look all put together in the morning on video or if he's going to be a little disheveled. You're the GM. Like, if it was Ed Policy, he'd be like a three-piece suit. I would, with him, though, with Goody, I don't know.
Maybe he's got like the Wallace and Gromit machine where like drops him into his clothes for the day. You don't even know. Like, I've never seen Wallace and Gromit.
No clue what you're talking about. Let's just move on to something I do know. John in Kenosha, you are next on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Is load management a reason why people aren't watching the NBA? If not, what's the reason?
Yeah. For me, it's not so much load management unless it's like egregious, Kawhi Leonard type stuff.
Sure.
I find myself, I've been a long time NBA and I'm a Bucks fan, but I find myself really checking out during the regular season like a lot of people do and then coming back to the playoffs. And I don't think you can find a sport that has as much of a drop off or call it a level up, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that the NBA does between regular season and playoffs or around playoff time. And I mean, the NBA admits it. That's why they have the in-season tournament. They're the only sport that does that, because they see it. And I don't know if the answer is less playoff teams, because now you've got teams at the bottom that are going to carry even less, because MLB, that doesn't happen. They're playing hard. There's only really one way to play. And it's just the nature of basketball, maybe, because you can kind of slouch off a little bit more in basketball. I don't know how to make it more, but it never used to be that way from when I remember 90s, early 2000s, where you had just this really terrible defense in the regular season, and I don't care that the game is a little different. Guys are shooting further back, all that kind of stuff. I think that's great, but how do you make it competitive? Like, trying hard. I love to watch the best players in the world grind it on defense throughout the playoffs, throughout a 7-game series. That is awesome. How do we get that in the regular season?
That's the thing. And they put an in-season tournament in with that dumb cup tournament that they have, hoping to have that fixed. And I'm not sure. I think that's the fight that Adam Silver is fighting right now. Johnny, north side of Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on, Sparky? How you feeling today?
Doing good, man. I only got like 30 or so seconds here, so you got to kind of wrap it up.
I'm going to wrap it up quick. This is what I meant yesterday when I said the NBA is so watered down. It lacks any type of heart or any type of motivation. How can you compare this era and that era when this era half the games? Your average is that because you don't play as many games as Jordan was playing.
Correct.
In the course of a year. If Jordan was able to miss half a year, you probably average 40. Right. But this is what I mean. Yeah, it is less interesting because you never know when Giannis isn't going to play or when Joker isn't going to play. And nothing wrong with the guy. We just don't want to play him today. He's I don't know. He's tired or. Yep. And it's just no fair.
Absolutely, it's absolutely crazy, Johnny. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, I'm not going to be able to get to you. I apologize for that. Let me tell you about my fine folks over there at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code Sparky, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All we're doing is daily fantasy with Prize Picks, right? Pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. They have flex play, which means if you get one wrong, you could still win. Our lineup yesterday, AJ Green more or less 9 points. He had 9 points. Bobby Portis more or less 9.5 points. He had 9 points. We had more than 9.5. VJ Hedgecombe from Philadelphia, more than 18.5. He only had 14. It wasn't a good night.
It's a good try.
Good try. Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up comes up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Tommy Wirtz. Stay tuned. Toodles.